And I do believe we are live. Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist. I know I didn't give anybody any advance warning of this, largely because I didn't decide to do it until I think yesterday evening. I think I had quite a strong reaction to my video last week where I ranted slightly about all of the generic quote-unquote systems that we find ourselves up against in this particular hobby and obviously this line of work. So I thought, A, I would answer some of them just because, and B, maybe some people will come along, say hello, and ask some questions about that or other topics, and we can talk about that. And maybe give a heads up about some of the ideas I've got moving forward, because we've been doing this for a good long while now. It's like anybody who'd been doing this a bit longer would have checked, but it's been 7 or 8 months, I think. So I don't want to get too stuck in a rut. But first and foremost,
giant testicle monsters are tight.
First and foremost, giant testicle monsters are indeed tight. Thank you very much indeed to all of you who watch my videos, especially that there's a handful of you who just come in, week out, comment on the videos. It's so good of you. I'm so grateful to you. So you know who you are, and seriously, shoot me up when you're down when you're in this part of the world. I'll buy you a pint. So where to begin? So yeah, obviously last week I just spouted off a bit of rubbish about my opinions on games based on pre-existing game systems, 5e, Powered by the Apocalypse, Year Zero, and others. And it occurred to me actually just after I finished recording that it doesn't stop me buying these games, because I ordered Swords of the Serpentine, I think the day that I made that video, and obviously that's a game based off the Gumshoe system. So again, it's not a bespoke system. So I am fully aware of my own hypocrisy here. But yeah, so I thank you for responding as you did to that video. I confess I was a bit nervous that people might take offense, because you know what the internet's like. People take offense at everything these days, even something as little as I don't like these games as much as other games. You know, it's a major sin for which I should be condemned to hell. So thank you for being a bit more understanding on that. As I say, there were a good couple of comments to it, and I'll just go through a few of them. Druden Fush. That's the SZ always gets me wrong. I should know. I grew up in Germany, but yeah. Feel you regarding wanting to have system skepticism, blah blah. Yeah, you said something really got me, and I should have highlighted it before. Yeah, something about yeah, that was it. You mentioned being a bit worried about pirate game because Swashbuckler is quite a generalist feat, for example, like pirates, and I think I agree with you when you say that the bespoke systems tend to be really good when they drill down into something. So, you know, just to pick out the One Ring as usual, that's really good because it focuses a lot of the play on the journey and on the hope, which, again, crucial to Tolkien's work. Die is amazing at creating traumatic situations for the players to face, not the player characters to face. And if you go into the design process with an idea of what you want to achieve, you're onto a winner. You're going to give the people who are looking for that kind of thing what they're looking for. Whereas, I don't know, if you just go, here's a generic system, splat, there's your game, it feels generic. And yeah, and that goes on to something that somebody else says. Was it David Jennings, I think? A friend of mine ran a one-shot describes Lovecraftian horror and had some decent backstory when it came to it. We were playing a D&D Frankenstein Cthulhu game where the mechanics of Call of Cthulhu would have been perfect. Yeah, and again, if you go into Call of Cthulhu, you know that you're getting a game designed specifically to give you horror. Whereas if it's D&D, okay, I'm sure you could add things to it to make it horrific, but runs the risk of missing stuff. I do agree with Mr. Grockenroll. Love that name. That's awesome. Bespoke system. One that I liked and that fitted its world is Legends of the Five Rings. Legend singular of the Five Rings. Yes, 100%. I got that down here. I'm behind a load of other things, so I can't get to it right now. But yeah, something like that just creates the feel of the world. Especially, I mean, I've been watching Shogun recently, and that just so many. Obviously, I'm not Asian. I wouldn't want to pretend that I could even begin to understand what it's like to be Japanese and of that culture. But watching Shogun over the past few weeks has felt like, oh yeah, that's just what I was imagining whilst we were playing. Obviously done by to a much higher quality of acting, obviously, because have you seen that cast? Has anybody watched Shogun? Let me know in the comments, because I'm loving it. It's so good. Finished it last night. Fish not goatee. Since the release of the OGL in 2000, there has been a significant trend towards what I think of as lazy game design, using a system for something it wasn't designed for simply because it's there and readily available. Yeah. And I think that's because, bearing in mind, I'm an author as well as a therapist, and I mean, I was an author long before I became a therapist or an RPGer. And when you're reading somebody's work, you can feel it, whether or not they're enjoying it. You can feel the passion, you can feel the energy, you can feel the hunger. If the writers behind the game are passionate and enthusiastic about the product they're making, the consumers, be they readers, players, whatever, they will feel it as well. If you go, I'll just slap a bit of 5e on it, it will feel like you've just slapped a bit of 5e on it. So, and somebody mentioned the Year Zero engine as well in one of their comments. What was it? Because I can't. I forget who it was who made, but somebody made a good point about even because I've gushed about Free League several times. I think I've been quoted saying, as far as I'm concerned, they can do no wrong. But yeah, the Year Zero engine is a generic system that they've plastered all over their other games. So I mean, I've got Coriolis, for example, Symbaroum. No, Symbaroum. Oh yes, Symbaroum, is it? Alien is the one I was thinking of, which is completely not Symbaroum. But yeah, just even there, so again, I'm aware of my own hypocrisy, but so even games that I will let pass have done the same thing. I'm really excited to read Sword of the Serpentine, because apparently they've taken the Gumshoe system and added more of a violent sword and sorcery hack and slash kind of game to it, to what is essentially an entirely investigative system. And I confess I'm not really one for investigation games. I spend all my day thinking when I play games, I need my brain to be able to turn off. I was going to say something deep and meaningful then. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. Is thank you for coming along, giving your thoughts, and giving me the encouragement that actually it was all right to think what I did, because you can't say negative things on the internet, and I worry. In other areas, I'm currently, so before I get through Swords of the Serpentine, I'm currently working my way through Beyond the Wall and other adventures. I've played this before, but I've never actually read the whole thing. But I love the Session Zero and setup of this, where you've got tons of roll tables for character creation and world creation, and you can essentially play the game without a Session Zero. So I shall give you a deep dive on that in the near future. In terms of actual play, obviously, Charlene, Emily, Derek, and I always call him Derek. Eric and I always haven't been playing for a little while because Emily's been moving house and I've been under the weather. Charlene's got stuff. Eric is just crazy and has got everything going on. So we're hopefully going to be playing this weekend. So we'll get something up either next week or the week after. But we're coming towards the end of this scenario, so we'll have a brief overview of our feelings about the system and the scenario and everything, and then it'll be time to decide another game to play. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, just your interests, do let us know, and we'll consider it. No promises, because I've got lots of things here to keep us busy for a good long time, but always eager to learn more. Also, the big news for this year is, well, it's twofold. Firstly, UKGE, United Kingdom Games Expo, up in Birmingham, the end of this month. Alas, I will not be going. My son has his GCSE exams this year, and okay, yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't miss me for a day, but I would feel like a bad dad walking out on him, even for a day. So I'm going to sit it out this year, which is a shame, because I understand that Colossal has got a new source book coming out that's going to be released at UKGE. So if you're there, drop by Nick's stall and get me a copy, will you? But more exciting than my not appearing at UKGE, much more exciting, is there is a good chance, touch wood, cross your fingers, stroke some iron, whatever, that I will be at San Diego Comic-Con this year at the end of July to be on some panels about D&D in the therapy, Deadpool in therapy, Gundam and trauma, just geeking out with lots of other geek therapists, and wearing ridiculously over-the-top Hawaiian shirts, because Hawaiian shirts come with dice on them in this day and age, apparently. I don't think the world's ready for it. So that's my big piece of news. So if you are in California and are able to travel to that part of the world, I think, is it the 23rd of July, 24th? The 20-somethings of July. And you're there, send me a message and we can say hi, because it's also my birthday whilst we're out there, so I'll be having dinner that night, so I won't be able to meet you then, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So, and Deadpool versus Wolverine comes out. The other main idea I have about episodes moving forward, and which I would like some feedback on, is about inspiration. Not so much in the gaming sense, but in the story sense, coming up with ideas for stories to use with our clients. But obviously, also even if you're not a therapist, just use your tables, because I've said it before, and I'm about to say it again. A big problem that a lot of people coming into the hobby, going into RPG therapy as a career, face is just this idea that they're quote unquote not creative. And as I've said, I take issue with that. I think everybody's got a spark of creativity. But to overcome some of that nervousness, it's simple enough just to take pre-existing IPs and use those. So I'll no doubt look at Lord of the Rings at some point and how you could use that with clients. Use, like Second World War, Vietnam War, ancient history, medieval history, but also excellent media like cartoons. One of the first things I'm probably going to talk about would be Steven Universe, because Steven Universe is my favorite cartoon in existence. I love it so much, and I've used / stolen things from Steven Universe tons of times to use with clients, because A, I love it, and B, I know that they love it, because who doesn't love turning into a giant woman? But also comics, so like Ms. Marvel or Deadpool and Wolverine. Just looking through pre-existing series, franchises, whatever you want to call it, and seeing how we could potentially use them. A, with clients, but B, just as part of the fun. Much like I do with my RPG geek dives, this would be just kind of a media geek dive. Off the top of my head, though, that's pretty much all I've got planned going forward. So if you do have some requests on what you'd like me to cover here, I would very much appreciate any suggestions. But other than that, the plan is just to keep on keeping on and see where the rest of May. How on earth is it May already? See where May takes us, and then the rest of the year after that, and see if I survive San Diego. See if I can come back from America. So so nobody's turned up to ask any questions, which I was kind of expecting. As I say, I gave 0 heads up. Well, that's a lie. Somebody popped in and then popped out again. So whoever you were, thank you. But if you do have any questions or thoughts, please do pop them in the comments below. I will get around and I will just answer you the normal way next time. And next week, hopefully, just keep an eye out, and we'll have, touchwood, hopefully the final session of our Avatar Legends playthrough. So if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, going down below, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon. And if you're interested in a little bit of reading, my book, While Playing Games Like Therapy, A Practitioner's Guide, is still on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever you get your reading material. By all means, come over to the International Writers Fellowship on Mondays at 9 p.m. British time, 4 p.m. Eastern, for me and a few other friends' discussions about writing. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. So until then, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers.